hope you find some inspiration from it. So what's prisons got to do with the church? What's it got to do with us sitting here tonight? Well, I'm going to take you back to my childhood for a minute. I started going to church when I was a teenager, and I went to St Lawrence's Church in Eastwood over by the airport with my grandma on a Sunday. And we used to sing lovely traditional hymns, and we'd listen to a sermon, and I always thought, oh, that's good, it'd make me a better person for the week. And that's what church was about for me. Nothing else. It was very comfortable. And then my grandma said, well, do you want to be christened and confirmed? And I said, yeah, sure. So we went to confirmation classes, and I can't remember anything I learnt, which is such a shame because I could really do with it now. But all I remember is very floral wallpaper, very floral sofas, it being very hot, and Grandma falling asleep with her mouth wide open. And somebody would ask her a question, and she would instantly wake up and know the answer. And I just thought, this is just not fair. So anyway, so that was my experience of just what church meant to me. Was just on a Sunday, nice and comfortable. And so when my life changed and I went to university and went out to work and I'd stopped going to church, all I heard about from religion was what you'd hear in the media, associating religion with wars, associating religion with people who are doing terrible things in the name of religion. And I didn't have anything else to go back to church for, really. I hadn't associated with anything other than this nice little ritual on a Sunday. So when I came back to church here a few years ago, and I started exploring my faith and actually what church was about, I started looking into it. And what I realised is that church has a huge responsibility to society that has, as we all know, has been lost as churches have dwindled. And nothing has replaced the void. The children are growing up now in schools, and they're just being encouraged to GCSEs, A-levels, you've got to do everything that's going to make us money, and you know, all that kind of push, pressure. And they have lost what it means to be compassionate and understanding. That's not to say young people aren't, they are. But actually, that void hasn't been filled with anything else. So now, more than ever, I think it is so important that churches and the people that go to church and the people that are associated with churches fill that void and do something about that. Now, what's great about Methodism, and I'm sure lots of other churches as well, we particularly stand for things for social justice, and things that are important in our society. And one of those things, I'm only tackling one tonight, is prisons. It's our prison service. Now, obviously, the government is doing what it can, and you know, it's putting lots of money into prisons and trying to sort things out. But actually, is it dealing with the real compassion of prisons and what's going on? Now, we know the prison system isn't working. 46% of people who come out of prison re-offend within a year. 60% of short-term prisoners re-offend within the year. So it just isn't working. So how are we going to change that? Is there something that we can do, sitting here tonight, is there something that we can do about that? Well, I'm going to suggest 3 things. I'm probably going to suggest them not in the order that the government might think. But I'm going to think about, first of all, what Jesus said 2,000 years ago, and he had it right. And that is, the first thing is forgiveness. Total forgiveness. Wouldn't it be amazing if people got their sentencing, and as soon as they arrived at prison or whatever, restorative justice centre or whatever we'd like to move forward towards, is the minute you come through that door, you are totally forgiven. And then you start from that place, where everybody forgives you around you. That must be so amazing. And I bet you nobody arrives at prison with that thought in their mind. So that's the starting place. Just like Jesus instantly forgave the woman, that the prostitute who had sinned. He knew that she was going to repent. Secondly, forgiveness of ourselves. I think this is crucial. Do unto others as you do to yourself. How can a prisoner know how to treat other people if the prisoner has not been given a good life, has not been shown love, has not been shown respect? What do they feel about themselves? Well, the good thing is for you all here tonight is, you know, well, for those of you who know what we do here on a gospel night, I hand out acts of kindness. And in those acts of kindness, you all go away and do something, hopefully during the month, for somebody else. Well, tonight, all the acts of kindness are for you to do something for yourselves. Okay, so if you don't get one you like, I want you to change. You can change it. You can change it. And the idea, what I want you to do with this act of kindness for yourself, is to spend time, make time during the month, take the time away. Not just yet, darling, but in a minute. It's all right, lovely. You can sit down, please. Take away your act of kindness, book in whatever I've suggested or whatever you've picked out, and not just do something for yourself, but think about the gifts that you have as a person, that you can give to other people. What's lovely about you? What's special about you? Because then if you really know what's special about you and what gifts you've got to give, you'll be so much better at helping other people as well. So that's my second thing. So we'll start right here and now by doing our acts of kindness for ourselves. And that's what I think that the prisoners and people who go to prison should be given that opportunity, counselling, to be able to do. Okay, and thirdly is to change the environments. Now, I looked at that when I came to do this sermon, and I thought, right, okay, I'm going to look up all the different things. I thought, what would Jesus do? What do the prison service do now? And then, do you know, I came across this amazing thing, because I'm a bit of a questioning Christian. And again, this suits me with Methodism, because it tells you to look into the Bible and read it as it is today, with the experience you have today. So I looked around, and there was actually a guy on TED Talks who looks at the neuroscience of people who are in Wormwood Scrubs, who are lifers, who are in there for murder, for rape, for thieving, and their amygdalas on their brain scans, their amygdalas, which are responsible for human reaction, were smaller than normal people's. Now that amygdala grows from about the first few years of life, which suggests quite heavily that, not necessarily, but heavily, that when that had chance to grow, when they were shown that love, when they were shown that they didn't see that. Now up until 1990, we thought that our brains couldn't make new cells, but we all know now that, we've been listening to the news since then, that our brain cells can change and they can grow. And the amygdalas get bigger. And so we can show more compassion. Now, I think this is incredible, because this is where science and religion comes together. That 2,000 years ago, Jesus knew that just by forgiving, by giving people hope, giving people chance, giving people a good environment and treating them the same as everybody else, that they had that opportunity to change, and really change. It's scientific, it's in their brains. So what do prisoners need? They obviously need to do things like restorative justice, which you could have a look up, which is where they meet their victims and the families of their victims, and they get a chance to chat to each other and understand each other. And it helps the victims as well, not just the prisoners. And things like accommodation and money when they come out, and benefits and jobs. This all needs us to all forgive. Because when they come out, it's no good if we haven't forgiven them. Oh, well, I don't know that I trust them. So I'm going to finish now. But what I'm going to say to you is, I'd like you to do your acts of kindness. I'd like you to look at the website if you can on your sheets. I've written it down on the bottom of your song sheets for you to look up. But I'm going to just throw a wild card, and it may cause some discussion, and that's what I'd really like from tonight. My thoughts were, how about if businesses that earned over a certain amount of money were legally made to employ prisoners as they came out of the prison? So that they come out, but before they come out, they're educated in the job, they're given support, they're given accommodation, and they're given work, and they're supported in that role. That would answer a lot of people. They're much, much less likely to reoffend, and we wouldn't have the £13 billion amount of money that it costs us in reoffence from the prisons. So I'm sure there's lots of problems with that. But what I would like you to do is to take away that thought and I would like you to pray on it or think about it, and hopefully somebody will come back next month and put in we're going to have our Acts of Kindness book where you can write down any thoughts that you've had during the month or any inspirations you've had. So thank you for listening, and I really hope that my word is inspired and that it has inspired you.